All right. Yeah, I mean, the fall was a good one for us. I was certainly encouraged by the way a lot of our pitchers threw the ball, and there's a lot of things that really didn't take place in the fall because our whole team was rarely out there. We did have some injuries, and we had to sit some guys out, some important guys too. Dom Thompson-Williams and Taylor Widener and Gene Cone, and guys are going to play a significant role. We're out this fall, but we were able to get enough guys out there to battle and fight and compete against each other. And I think I have a good idea now of what we have going into the spring. I'm anxious to get those guys that I just mentioned and a few other guys. Chris Cullen, one of our top recruits, a catcher, is will be joining us as well. And so when you put those two factors together, one, what I saw on the field, and two, that I'm going to be able to add a few very experienced, valuable, good players to the puzzle come January, we're certainly excited about the spring and how our team looks when we get all healthy and we get all together, and hopefully the first day of practice in January, I suspect we'll be all healthy and ready to go. Some of our pitchers, obviously, if you ask me what stood out this fall, the pitchers, for the most part, all fall had the upper hand on the hitters, and that was encouraging to see, considering Widener wasn't out there, and we lost Jack Wynkoop from a year ago, and we have some holes to fill on our pitching staff. So some of the guys stepped up, and some of the guys that have been around the block here have improved, and I think some of the guys that hadn't pitched in the past are gonna be in some significant roles this spring. So all in all, a good fall. Our guys have worked hard. They've done well. They're really working hard in the weight room, and we're anxious and eager to get on the field come February the 19th. And it's obviously it's been a long time since we played our last game, and we want to get started on a new season as fast as we possibly can, and we're excited about the team we're going to be able to put out there.
Questions, please raise your hand. John.
How difficult is it to balance the hitting versus the pitching, whether one's excelling, whether one's more? How often are you fooled by what you have coming out of the ball?
Well, we're either really, really good on the mound, or we're not. Or it's going to be difficult to score. And I hope our pitchers were certainly the reason why we struggled offensively. I feel good about our team offensively. I feel good about Dom. I think the surprise of the fall was a young man named Jonah Bride, who obviously, go by the stats, led our team in hitting. He hit .395 this fall, and really, really played well. Played great defense. Did everything that we asked him to do, and not that I didn't think he was a good player when he came here, but he has really. He's probably our most consistent performer all fall. But a number of position players did play well and swung the bats well. I can name off about 6 guys right now that hit over 300 that are going to be in the opening lineup come the first game of the year. So there's a couple other guys that got to step up a little bit. We all know Clark Scalamaro might be our best athlete on the team, but we need him in there. We need him to play well. Danny Blair's a talented freshman that's very, very athletic. Some of those things we don't know in full detail how good those kids are going to be until we put them out there and leave them out there. But I like our team offensively. I really do. I think we got some athleticism. We got some guys that can run. Our outfield is extremely athletic. And those guys that struggled a little bit offensively this fall, and there was a number of them, but they're going to be okay. I tell our guys all the time, I think Evan Marzilli went 6 for 55 or 6 for 56 in the fall and hit right at 100 with about 26, 27 strikeouts, and he turned out okay. So these guys keep working hard. They've been in the cages with Coach Busher. They're working hard. So I feel good about our team offensively. I was more encouraged with how our pitchers threw. Their numbers were good, but they threw strikes. Their velocities were good. And like I said, some of the guys that were returning, the John Parks of the world, Tyler Haswells, Matt Vogel, some of those guys, Alex Destino, really have improved on the mound. And I think that was the thing that kind of stood out for me.
John, your follow-up, and then Brian.
Yeah, just kind of from a team perspective, though, were you ever fooled very much about how good the group is going to be coming out of the fall base, just because you're not playing against anybody?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's difficult to judge. You know, in 10 and 11, we knew we were good. You know, in 12 and 13, we knew we were pretty good. Last year, I thought we were good. You know, we just weren't good enough. But I think every coach in the country sitting in this spot right now in November feels good about their team. So I don't know if I'm any different than anybody else, but I think there's some differences between this year's group and last year's group that's apparent and easy for me to see. So for that reason, I feel extremely comfortable knowing that we got some really good kids that have really worked hard, and I think they're good baseball players. I know they are, and I expect them to perform at a high level. I said at the beginning of the fall, I think it can be a team ranked among or play among the nation's elite and be right there in the conversation with all the other big boys in college baseball. And I expect nothing less than that, to be honest with you. I think if we play the way we're capable of playing, we'll be a tough team to beat, and that's the way I feel.
Right. You keep talking about the athleticism and doing some different things. When you went about building and kind of looking at what needs you had coming off of last year, is that something that you also strive to do?
I've always been a coach that loves outfielders that can run and track them down. And, I mean, I think all coaches like that. But I feel like I want that to be a staple of our team each and every year. And, you know, when we had Jackie and Merrifield and Marzilli out there, you just feel like nothing dropped. You know, and I have that same feeling with this group. They're very athletic. You put them on the timer and you watch them run, you'll be impressed. Now, that doesn't mean they're great baseball players yet, but they can run, and they are good defensive outfielders. So I think that was an area of our team that we needed to be improved upon. We have improved that. Some of those guys need to hit at the top of the lineup too and be some table setters and get on base and use a short game and bunt, and we're still working on that. But speed and athleticism is going to be a big part of this year's team.
Kyle, what does the next couple months hold for you? What's kind of the goals for the team to kind of stay?
Right. Well, we got to get healthy. You know, that's what we're working on right now. But we got to keep improving. November, December, and January is important. And you know, I turn them over to Coach Anderson for the most part right now. And they're in the weight room, and to go through the long SEC season and the long college baseball season, you need to have some strength and you need to have some stamina. And they're working hard in the weight room right now with Coach Anderson. We're doing a lot more cardiovascular and some running this year than we've done in the past, just to make sure our legs are in better shape, in good shape. And so it's going to be some challenging physical fitness days between now and, we start team practice for the guys. But that's all right. I think the weight room challenges your mental toughness, and Coach Anderson has always done a great job in that regard. And we're going to try to even ramp that up a little bit more as we go forward. But they'll always be in the cage. We're limited right now with how much baseball instruction we can give them. So right now we'll continue to work on some baseball skill instruction, but the majority of their time down here will be in the weight room, foot speed, agility stuff, and trying to get stronger.
So come January, you think everybody other than Will probably should be good to go?
Well, Cody Morris and Will Crow are guys that have, they're frontline guys. We recruited them both to be weekend guys. Obviously, Will, we think, is one of the best college pitchers in the country. And Cody, we think, has the talent and ability to be in that same conversation. They'll both probably be out for the entire year as we sit here today. Now, things change, and I don't have to make that decision until we open up the first week of the year. We'll see. I'm not going to do anything to rush them back. Me and Will's had some pretty in-depth conversations about what the future holds for him, and I think that it's my job to protect Will and Cody, to make sure that we put them back out there when they're healthy, when they're completely healthy and completely ready to go. And could it be this year? Not going to rule it out yet, but I doubt it. I think that's a situation in which sometimes you don't get up to your capability. You don't get 100% until 12 to 16 months, and we gotta be wary of that.
But other than those guys, you think?
Yeah, Crow. Dom Thompson Williams started swinging the bat, and he's been out there practicing or working out with us the last week or so. He's going to be 100% and ready to go probably next 2 to 3 weeks. Gene has an appointment today with his doctor, and I think he's going to be fine and ready to go. And I think he'll be 100% here during the month of December. Taylor Widener is on track. He'll start his bullpen sessions in the month of December. And we feel good about his recovery up to this point. Chris Cullen is a big part of our team, and he's chomping at the bit, ready to go too. And he's right on the same track with Taylor. He'll be, I think, 100% ready to go come December. Kyle Anderson, another freshman left-handed pitcher, had the same procedure. A little bit behind the other guys, but I think come January he'll be ready to compete as well, and we'll be able to put him in some scrimmages to see what he can do.
Back to John and then David.
You said the differences between this year's group and last year's group are easy to see. I know one you said is that the athleticism out there. Can you point to a couple more differences that are easy to see now versus last year's group?
Well, I've been extremely impressed with Hunter Taylor and Johnny Jones. They caught every inning of every scrimmage this fall. That's very, very difficult. And they haven't come out. They've caught bullpen after bullpen after bullpen, game after game after game, and they've done it at a high level. So I feel extremely comfortable with those guys behind the plate. And I'm also anxious. Well, I know what Chris Cullen can do behind the plate. I'm anxious to see, watch him swing the bat and see what he can do offensively. But he's as gifted defensively as both Hunter and Johnny is, maybe even more advanced defensively. So we're deep behind the plate this year. So I feel good about those guys. And I think the depth of our pitching staff, the way it shakes out right now, and who I'm comfortable putting in the game, is a little bit deeper than we were a year ago there too. Josh Reagan is. I didn't mention him. He's had a great fall. He dominated our guys. And, Josh is one of those guys that usually pitched at 82, 84 miles an hour and got away with location, tried to get people out with location and changing the speeds. Now he's, 87, 88, and he's become, a different guy. And if he can maintain that in the spring with his location, command, and his changeup, Josh becomes not that he hasn't pitched well here. He has. He's put up numbers, but he becomes a conversation piece. Do we pitch him on the weekend, or do we, put him in some valuable spots at the end of the game? Because he's been extremely impressive.
David, ask about a couple of your freshmen, T.J. Hopkins and Harrison Smith. They're locals for us. Can you assess what their fall was and what kind of role they might have for you?
Harrison threw 10 innings, and he did well. He's got a quick arm and 89 miles an hour, good curveball. He had his moments. He's a freshman. He's trying to learn and get better, but Harrison's going to pitch a lot for us as he goes forward in his career. Now, does he pitch a lot as a freshman? I don't know. There's some guys on the bubble in regards to redshirting. Harrison could be on the bubble in regards to that. Here's why I don't want him to pitch 5 or 10 innings, which he could do easily for us. I mean, he can pitch for us this year. But I don't want to burn a year of eligibility and throw him 10 innings. That's not fair to him. And that doesn't maximize his potential that he can, give to this baseball program. So we're going to wait and see and watch him pitch in January and see where he stands come the first week of the year. But he's certainly he's certainly in the mix to get some opportunities. TJ is this talented kid we got on our team. He's just raw a little bit at the plate. He struck out a little bit too much. He had a very similar fall to Evan Marzilli, and they're very similar players. They're very explosive. TJ's just a right-handed hitter, and Evan was left. But when you watch him run around the outfield, you'll say, "Ooh, man, that's impressive." You watch him take BP, you'll be like, he should be hitting third, And talent oozes out of TJ. He's got a chance to be a high draft pick and a very successful player here. He's just got to continue to figure out how to play. And we got to get him in there and get him some at-bats. This time is very, very important to him as far as the cages and processing and trying to learn what he went through this fall to try to get better so he won't go through the same type of failure that he had in September and October. He had some rough weekends, but he also had some flashes of brilliance. And that's just part of him growing up and developing as a player. We're really high on him, and think he could be a great player for us. He just got to continue to improve, and he can get his chances to play as a freshman here. He's in the conversation in the outfield, but he needs to have a good January to if he wants to get in that opening day starting lineup.
Back to Matt.
concerned about some of the offensive struggles with the fact that you had some injuries and had some guys banged up that are probably going to be big contributors?
Well, yeah, I mean, I'll be honest with you. I've had some concern here and there offensively because we weren't quite as consistent as I wanted to be. But then I start analyzing the guys that are going to be playing. See, sometimes when you go through the fall and you watch two teams play, your judgment can be skewed because some of those guys you're watching and evaluating might not be in the lineup every day. But when you sit there and you look at Don Thompson Williams and Jonah Bride and Peter Mooney and D.C. Arenas, Madison Stokes, Alex Destino, L.T. Tolbert, those guys' numbers, you'd be like, oh, those are pretty good numbers. So that's a lot of guys that are going to be in the conversation to play, and some will be in there every day. So when you start looking at it that way, I feel good about our team offensively. The guys that didn't hit well possess great speed, running ability, getting a lot better with the short game. So they're going to be able to put some pressure on some people too. So I like where we are offensively. I just don't know who yet. I went into the fall thinking, okay, who's going to hit behind Destino and Dom? And, and I don't – right now I think Jonah is. But Madison Stokes really came on late in the fall, so I could hit him fifth. Those are the kind of questions I ask myself going into the fall. Who's going to protect Dom and Alex? And, Madison really was impressive. Jonah was probably one of our better players this fall. LT had a solid fall. We had a number of guys that had solid falls that are in the conversation to play. So when you look at it that way, you feel a little bit better about our team offensively. Now, there was some numbers here that was a little scary, but the guys that are in the conversation piece to play a lot, feel good about.
That was basically what I was going to ask. Who are some of the guys that you were talking about? But you pretty much answered that.
Guys that, those as far as playing, I mean, it's a long way away from opening day, but obviously Dom's going to be in there, Mooney going to be in there, Jonah's going to be in there. DC had a good fall. Madison really came on late and gives a physical presence. Destino, LT Tolbert's he's had really good numbers as a freshman, and he's fought his way in there to be in the conversation to play. So there's another number of other guys too, but those guys have stood out.
You were talking about last week about how you knew what you had in some places and you're still trying to figure out what you're going to do at first base. But how do you see that shaking up, or is that something that's going to be figured out as the season starts?
I'm not there yet as far as who I'm going to play at first, but I do know this. I could put 4 shortstops on the field, and that makes me feel good. I could put 4 shortstops on the field and start 4 shortstops every single day, and in the infield. Now, how I move those guys around, not there yet. But obviously, Jonah's played a corner, and I put him at first some at the end of the fall. LT Tolbert's just, hey, give me a first baseman. I'll play wherever you want me. So there's a number of guys I could put over there, but I'm not ready for that yet. We'll work on that hard in January, but it's going to be one of those occurrences where you'll look out there probably a lot and say the Gamecocks got 4 shortstops on the field. And you know what? That makes me feel good about the way we'll play defense.
I guess the signing period is just wrapping up. What are your feelings on this recruiting class? I guess it's ranked 4th right now by purpose.
Yeah, I mean, our last 2 recruiting classes, we feel like we're right back in stride. The current group that's here right now, that's playing right now, I guess was ranked number 2 by some folks. I guess Collegiate Baseball and Perfect Game thought highly of them as well. And then to see this group that we just signed this past week, it's exciting for us, to put back-to-back top 5 classes on top of each other. That makes you feel awfully good about the future. And, when you sit there and you look at the class and you say, well, you got the top high school prospect in the state of Florida, the top high school prospect in the state of Virginia, the top right-handed pitcher in the state of South Carolina, and the top pitcher in the state of North Carolina, we covered some bases there. And that's just, the top portion of the class. And we're pumped up about these guys. And then you throw, there's some other guys out there too that I can't talk about yet that might be joining us. So it's feel good about this recruiting class for sure. And it makes me, it's very, very, I feel great about the job Coach Esposito's done, Coach Myers has done. Anytime you have a recruiting class ranked in the top 5, it takes a lot of hard work from a lot of people. And I'm thrilled with the players that we got coming to join us next fall.
I know it's a staff effort, has he done as he's kind of settled into that role?
Well, I mean, he's worked extremely hard, and you know, Coach Espo has the title as recruiting coordinator, and we all recruit extremely hard, and those guys are on the road a lot more than I am. But he's done a great. I mean, you can't argue when you put back-to-back top 5 classes together. You feel like the program's in great shape, and from the talent level that's coming, and here, and the talent level that's already here in the class that was ranked in the top 5. So, you know, you feel like when you put recruiting classes back to back that are in the top 5, you have a chance to win a national championship, and that's what we're trying to do. And hats off to Coach Esposito and Coach Myers for what they've done, Coach Busher, and you know, it's a group effort. I mean, heck, our director of baseball operations, Tyson, does a whole heck of a lot when the kids are on campus, and you know, we all have to recruit hard, and it's nice to see their hard work pay off.
Back to you, man.
Have you gotten any closer as far as weekend rotation? I think you said Webb and probably Schmidt.
Well, Clark Schmidt is I don't know how you can have a much more impressive fall than what he had. Much improved. Velocity's up, breaking ball's better, command's a lot better. He's a different guy than he was a year ago. Not that he wasn't any good. He was pretty good last year, but he's a different guy. And, you know, Braden Webb obviously has the arm and the talent to be a weekend starter. No doubt about that. You know, I guess if you want to look at some guys, a possibility, Bowers had threw 20 innings this fall and threw very well. I mean, he might have been one of the most pleasant surprises of the fall. You know, Coley threw 20 innings and had a .44 ERA. I mean, threw really well. Josh Reagan, obviously, I've mentioned him already. We still don't know exactly how we're going to use Destino. Destino and Taylor Widener. Those are 2 guys that are in the conversation. And Widener could be a weekend starter if he comes back healthy and ready to go. So we got some options there. And but no, if we played tomorrow, and Coach Myers would get mad at me, but Schmidt would get the ball tomorrow. But other guys, there's still some competition going on.
Brian, kind of just to answer with Destino, you do see him kind of factoring in on the pitching side, using him obviously offensively and in the field.
Yeah, he could be very valuable on the mound, and much improved. I feel a lot more comfortable about him throwing strikes. His velocity's up. He's throwing the ball well. I just got to be careful and make sure I don't take away what he can give us offensively, and I don't want to put too much on him. But he's big and strong, physical, and I think he's a different player than he was a year ago. Expecting great things from him. I expect him. I feel very good that he's going to have a really good year. And I think we released our schedule this past week or so, and it's a challenging schedule, obviously. So we're going to have to be prepared and ready to go. And heck, I mean, y'all saw it. I mean, it's very, very difficult. And the SEC season gets started off with Arkansas here, and you got Clemson, for 3 games, obviously. Go to Charlotte and play North Carolina. It's a very, very challenging schedule. I think we play in Greenville, South Carolina 3 times this year. So that's neat. It's always neat to play in that ballpark. So it's an exciting time. When you couple the fact that baseball's right around the corner, we've had some great recruiting classes, great signing period for us, and I feel our coaching staff feels great about the fall. We're anxious and ready to get started, and appreciate you guys for covering us this fall, and we can't wait to get cranked up in January.
Any other questions for Coach Holbrook?
Thank you, guys.